Hey there, A's Day fans. Happy Friday. Welcome to our Friday show. I'm your host, Joe Grado. Thank you for stopping by to kick off your weekend with us here at A's Day to hear our thoughts on everything A's baseball. Today is Friday, May 15th. We've got a good show for you. We're going to start on a little bit of a low note. Despite the hard-fought back-and-forth series that we witnessed earlier this week, we are going to recap the St. Louis Cardinals taking 2 out of 3 to kick off this homestand. It was a tough, heartbreaking finish where the A's came within a strike of winning the series. We'll recap each game, give our thoughts, and hand out our 3 A's star performers. Later, we will discuss a trade that went down as the A's acquired left-handed pitcher Jose Suarez from the Mariners in exchange for cash considerations. We'll discuss the move, what it means for the A's, and how he will fit in terms of his bullpen role. And then before getting on out of here and preparing for the weekend set, we are going to preview the next edition of the Battle of the Bay as the A's welcome in the San Francisco Giants into Sutter Health Park this weekend. We'll give the starting pitching matchups, the game times, our predictions, all of that good stuff. Appreciate you stopping by. Let's get you all prepared and set up for first pitch, which is scheduled for 6:40 p.m. tonight. So by the time that this is posted, it will lead you right up to first pitch right on cue. Holy Toledo, let's get to it, and let's go A's. All right there, A's fans. Thank you so much again for tuning in to our Friday edition of our show. Before we dive into our topics of conversation, just want to give you all a friendly reminder of where you can find us outside of our podcast episodes that are available on all of your favorite audio podcast platforms. In addition, be sure to check us out on our social media sites, on Instagram at A's Day Baseball Podcast, on X, formerly known as Twitter, at A's Day Baseball, and be sure to check out our YouTube channel for video editions of our episodes, as well as A's player interviews and A's baseball destination content, curated experiences, and so much more of our video content. Check out our channel for all of that exciting content. And be sure to become an official subscriber of A's Day. Be sure to check us out on our Patreon site, patreon.com/A's Day for just $2 a month. You'll be entered to win monthly A's Day t-shirts, A's autographed memorabilia, future A's game tickets, and so much more as we are able to grow this platform collaboratively. All right, let's dive in. Let's recap this series. We're going to not try to dwell on it too much, but in my opinion, for all the baseball action we were able to take in, I thought that this was the most exciting series of the week. So, without further ado, let's jump right to it. Coming off the weekend series victory in Baltimore and Monday's off day, the A's were looking to start off at home on the right foot as they welcomed in the St. Louis Cardinals for 3, starting this past Tuesday night. Andre Pallante would be getting the ball for the St. Louis Cardinals, going up against the Green and Gold's left-hander Jeffrey Springs. Well, certainly one team started out hot, but it wasn't the home 9. After the first 2 Cardinals hitters reached, Jordan Walker would bring home the game's first run via an RBI single. After 2 outs were recorded, Jose Fermin would rip a 2-run double to center to make it a 3-0 lead. And for good measure, Yohel Pozo would add 1 more to cap a 4-run first and give St. Louis an early 4-0 lead. To the A's credit, however, they would respond in a big way in the bottom of the second. Nick Kurtz would rip an RBI single, and Shea Langoliers right after would lace a 2-run double to cap a 3-run second inning and narrow the deficit to 4-3. Jeffrey Springs would not allow any further damage and would settle down, surviving 5 innings against this potent Cardinals offense. Springs went 5 innings, allowed 7 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, 5 Ks in a 98-pitch effort. To the sixth we go. On now is Joel Kuhnel. And St. Louis would get back to work. Second baseman J.J. Weatherholt would smash a 2-run home run to right to extend the Cardinals' lead to 6-3. In the eighth, A's trying to rally. Shea Langoliers demolished a solo home run 448 feet to left off reliever George Soriano, his 12th of the season. There goes old Bangoliers to close the gap to 6-4. But that is the closest they would get. Closer Riley O'Brien would be on, close things out for the Cardinals in the ninth. Ball game over. Cardinals win game 1, 6-4. So we'll start with the pitching performance. And Jeffrey Springs, the line looks way better than we could have envisioned by the conclusion of the first in this one. And it was just unfortunate how it seemed like it was a flashback to last year. If you're newer to the A's this year, for those that have been following along for some time and were accustomed to Jeffrey Springs' performance last year, he was someone that would settle down in the second inning forward and would have a repeated pattern of getting hit around and touched up pretty good in that first inning. So it was definitely discouraging to see that today. That hasn't been a pattern this year, so I think it was an anomaly perhaps, but a tip of the cap to that Cardinals offense as well. They're young but mighty. And those guys, there are going to be a lot of guys that do turn into household names, and I feel like a lot of them are producing a bit ahead of schedule at the major league level. That Cardinals offense does not go away. They put traffic on the bases, they put pressure on the opposition, and they make you pay if you make mistakes. And that was all the underlying themes throughout the series, which we are going to get through. The Cardinals pounded at hits, they worked their walks, and it seemed like they had the A's on their heels right off the jump. But to the A's credit, like I mentioned, they did come back with a 3-run answer in that second inning. Loving the synergy with Kurtz and Langoliers at the top. They do seem to be feeding off of each other in a positive way. Kurtz, we're starting to see the slug come around. We'll get to that a little bit later in the series. But mix that with his consistent on-base ability and the electrifying all-star start, the MVP type start that Shea Langoliers has been on, has been working wonders in that 1-2 spot. So that has been a pleasure to see, and it continued to churn in this one. But getting back to Springs, after that first inning, he really did settle down. But it is really a tough tone to set in a game when you give the opposition a 4-run cushion right off the jump. Just to have to claw out of the hole before even getting your first at-bat, it just sends a tough message through the room. And obviously give credit to Springs that he did battle his way through 5 to take a bit of pressure off of the bullpen. But nevertheless, next time out for him, looking for a stronger start in that first inning than that. But Langoliers then later in the game, as they tried to chip away, he had an absolute moonshot to left field at 448 feet. I think it went even further than that. That thing felt like it was going to leave the stadium entirely. And it landed on top of the building structure beyond the left field fence, which houses the A's locker room, but then also some batting tunnels over there. It hit the top of that building. And that's a ways back beyond the fence. So that was an impressive shot. And if it didn't hit anything on the way, it seems like it was going to keep going for days. So that was an impressive shot. Langoliers off to a fantastic start. It's continuing into May, and that's now his 3rd home run since he has been become a new dad. So I do think the theory of that dad strength is true. But tough back-and-forth affair without a doubt. A's come out on the losing side of this one. 2 young, exciting, talented teams going at it. Good competitive start to it. Obviously want the A's to come out on the winning side. But nevertheless, how this series started, you knew the results were perhaps going to go a bit back and forth. So Game 2 would set up for a good sequel this past Wednesday night. As Game 2, the Cardinals would send left-handed pitcher Matthew Liberatore would be going up against JT Ginn. Happy Henry Bolte Day to all who celebrated as the electrifying prospect made his debut in the second game of this series playing center field. And in his first at-bat, of course, the Palo Alto native laces a base hit to left to secure his first hit in the MLB. Congrats to Henry. That I'm sure was a very proud moment that he will never forget, with tons of friends and family in attendance down the third base line, able to all witness and share in that moment. You can't script things like that. From there, both starting pitchers traded zeros through the first 3 frames in this one and would have to fast forward to the 4th for this game's first offense. Nathan Church would deliver an RBI single to center to grab the early 1-0 lead for the Cardinals. In the fifth, the A's would answer back in a big way with the offense getting going. With one out, Darryl Hernandez would single. Michael Stefanik would follow with another single. Shea Langoliers walked, setting the stage for the Big Amish, Nick Kurtz. Bases loaded, one out, a swing and a drive deep to left center field. It's back, away back at the wall. She is gone. Nick Kurtz deposits a grand slam, 405 feet, a pitch after fouling a ball off his foot. Oh, churn it up, big fella, as the A's move ahead in this one, 4-1. JT Ginn would work a clean sixth inning, completing a solid outing on the hill this past Wednesday night. Ginn went 6 innings, allowing 9 hits, 1 run, none of them earned, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. To the 7th we go. Ivan Herrera looks to move St. Louis a bit closer as he knocks in a run via the sac fly to now make it 4-2 A's. But from there, the A's would add some insurance. Henry Bolte would collect his first MLB RBI in the 7th via the sac fly. And then in the 8th, Zach Geloff makes A's Day home run prediction come true. Zach Geloff hammers a solo home run in the 8th, his 4th of the year. Get going, Geloff, and the A's are now up 6-2. That's all the green and gold would need, as it went Ginn to Sterner to Harris to Medina to Perkins. Ball game over. A's win Game 2 6-2. They tied the 3-game set at 1 apiece and set up a pivotal Game 3 rubber match to determine the series victor. I just love the competitive nature of JT Ginn. He steps up in the situation where his team needed a performance to get a win. But they also needed length out of his performance on a bullpen that's been used quite a bit rather lately. And you're starting to see some of those fatiguing signs poke through. So you were hoping from Ginn, 5 would be the minimum, 6 would be great, and 7 would be an overjoy. Well, against, again, this potent St. Louis Cardinals offense, he spread out 9 hits. They still got 9 hits off of him, 10 base runners in total, but spread it out over 6 innings and didn't let it hinder his overall pitching performance in the end. He pitched in and out of some big moments. He had some traffic because that's what this Cardinals offense once again continues to do. They put pressure on the opposition, and a lot of opposing pitchers have been caving in, but Ginn did not cave in to the opposition's pressure. In fact, he thrived on that pressure and delivered for the team when he needed it. And so I think this was an impressive 6-inning performance that I think is much better than the stat line will show. And whatever, I know some of these box scores have a game score. I'm sure it's a bit lower than a typical 6-inning, 9-hit performance, but I think this one was gutsy. I think he was competitive all night. He was mixing his pitches well, especially leading up to the start. There was some concern. He was dealing with some arm soreness. No harm, no foul. He's playing catch soon after that. He's towing the rubber, not wanting to miss his day, and he delivers for his team. So shout out to Ginn. I think it's exactly what the doctor ordered. And then how about the big Amish Nick Kurtz coming through? Dead left center, comes through, bases loaded situation. It seemed like all the momentum was trending towards him to come through in a big way, puts a great swing on the ball, and completely switches the momentum and the atmosphere in that building. They go from down 1 to up 3 in the blink of the eye. The crowd's immensely in it, and it felt like from there they were able to just add a couple insurance runs late that just kind of put the bow on top of this one. But it felt like in the moment that one swing really won that game, and it felt like it took any momentum that St. Louis might have had from those early frames of a pitching and defense type game to the A's to be able to keep chipping at it, keep driving up the Cardinals' pitch count, keep working good at bats, getting traffic, scratch across what you can, but let your bullpen go to work and let your defense field the baseball and not in a way almost cruise to victory, but not to that full extent, but almost playing in control as compared to feeling they had to be chasing or playing this back and forth affair. It just felt like this one was all A's from that moment on. The bottom of the order, I think, were the unsung heroes in this one. They were the catalyst that really got this offense going and were the traffic that led to the top of the order coming through with some of those key runners in scoring position moments. The bottom of the order, consisting of Zach Geloff, Darryl Hernandez, and Michael Stefanik, went 6 for 12 in this one, 3 runs scored, a home run, and RBI. That's called getting it done. That's called being a lineup that passes the baton down, and everyone 1 through 9 is a threat to do something positive with the bat in their hand. And not trying to put it all on their shoulders, but taking a single, poking it through the right side, taking your walks, having team at-bats. When you're doing that as a collective, that's when your talented offense becomes even deadlier. And we saw that in this game. We saw that in that 4-run frame where Nick Kurtz hits the grand slam. That just felt like it was good at-bat after good at-bat after good at-bat. And I hope that kind of thing becomes more consistent, more contagious throughout the remainder of the season. But it was really encouraging to see, and really Nick Kurtz delivering one of the more memorable moments of this season for the A's thus far. So hopefully that's a catalyst for big things to come. But that was an exciting moment. And Luis Medina continues to deal. His ERA is now south of 2, and he continues to come in and just put up zeros, and his K rate continues to climb. Don't be surprised if he's someone that you'll see get put into more higher leverage situation as the season continues to wane on. I feel like the A's, as this is a guy that has missed significant time in the past, I think right now they want to pick and choose the right spots to put him in, make sure they build up his confidence to supplement with the stuff that he has that they know can get out major league hitters at a consistent clip. And I think now that next stage, that next phase, you're going to see him come into those tight spots and see if he could perhaps be that answer at your back end. Time will tell. But just someone to keep in mind, keep a note of, and if you hear his name more and more this season, don't be surprised because of how well he's performed in limited action thus far. Great answer in Game 2 after dropping Game 1 and now setting yourself up for a series victory during yesterday's daytime rubber match. As the Cardinals for Game 3 would send Michael McGreevy to the mound, he'd be going up against Jacob Lopez. The A's would get the scoring started in this one real quick. 2 pitches in, Nick Kurtz smashes a solo home run 442 feet to center, his 7th on the year, as the A's grab an early 1-0 lead. It would remain that way until the 5th, when the Cardinals would use a little power to break through against Lopez. Victor Scott II hits a solo home run to right to tie things up at 1. And then in the 6th, Jordan Walker would hit a home run of his own, his 12th of the year, to give the Cardinals a 1-run lead, before Nolan Gorman would add an RBI single after the A's were throwing the ball around the infield prior to Gorman's knock. Cardinals now lead 3-1. The RBI single by Gorman would end Lopez's day. Lopez went 5 innings in this one, allowing 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 of them earned, 3 walks, 2 Ks. To the 7th we go. It's time for a rally against the Cardinals bullpen. Zach Geloff would hammer a solo shot with 1 out off Ryan Stanek to bring the A's within 3-2. His 5th of the year. Later in the inning, now on is JoJo Romero out of the Cardinals bullpen. Shea Langoliers would deliver a 2-run single to cap a 3-run inning and move the A's back ahead. It's now 4-3 after 7. To the 9th we go. On is Jack Perkins, looking to close this one out, clinging to a 4-3 lead. Perkins would get 2 outs after the leadoff batter of the inning, Yohel Pozo, would single. With 2 outs and 2 strikes, Perkins hits second baseman J.J. Weatherholt with the pitch to keep the inning going. That unfortunately would spell trouble, as the next batter up, Ivan Herrera, would come through with an RBI single to tie the game up 4-4. And then the next batter after that, Jordan Walker, who killed the A's all weekend, had one more trick up his sleeve as he placed an RBI single down the right field line to bring home the go-ahead run. It's now 5-4 St. Louis. On now is closer Riley O'Brien, who locked things down for the save on Tuesday night and is looking to do it again in West Sacramento yesterday afternoon to secure the victory and the series win. After hitting Nick Kurtz with a pitch, he does just that, getting Langoliers to strike out looking before Soderstrom flew out and Rooker struck out swinging to end this one. Ball game over. Heartbreak was real. Cardinals win 5-4 and secure the series victory, taking 2 out of 3. So a quick exhale after that one. Just reliving that one. it was tough seeing it live, and it just seemed like that series victory slept through their fingers in the blink of an eye. Strike away against Weatherholt, had him right there in the grasp, up one, and then after a hit by pitch, I think it was like 2 pitches later, all of a sudden this game's turned on its head. And I think another 2-3 pitches after that, it really turned on its head. It was good to see this team, the A's, battle. And St. Louis is a fine team. But you don't want to look back, and I'm marking this down in our notes, to look back on at the end of this season. You don't want to look at this game as that one that got away that perhaps is the difference between you getting into the postseason and not. We saw how close it was in the American League last year. Houston and Detroit finished with the same record, but due to head-to-head tiebreaker, Detroit got in. So the A's could be in that type of situation. You never know. And I know it's a long season. There are always going to be games like this. Totally understand that. But when I tell you, when this game felt all but wrapped up and done, up 4-3, strike away, with an opportunity to win the series against a good St. Louis team, a gritty performance, would have felt like a collective team series victory, and in the blink of an eye, it's gone. You lose 2 out of 3 at home. Again, it seems like they're trying to find their footing at home. They look like a much more comfortable team on the road. It's a missed opportunity. I thought in this one, Jacob Lopez, I think he threw the ball a bit better, but the command is still mixed results. I understand, again, the Cardinals' offense has been making life difficult on a lot of pitchers, but that's something Lopez needs to get back into. That's something that was his bread and butter last year, and I'm not sure if it's something mechanical, if he's battling some sort of minor injury issue, whatever the case may be, needs to get cleaned up. Because you could see the potential is still there. You could see that the stuff is still there when he's getting ahead of hitters. When he works with conviction and is working with strike one before ball one, he is a very effective pitcher. But when that command goes a bit awry, that's when he becomes a little bit more susceptible, because he doesn't have that overpowering stuff. He is someone that does rely on location. He does need to fine-tune it a little bit more than others. But that's fine. I love when he does that. And in fact, he has a great pitch mix to do it. But we need to just get a couple steps closer to the type of command he showed last year, because right now, it's still just a bit of a mixed result. But in this one, you can live with this one. 5 innings, only 2 earned. He gives up 3 runs, but 2 of them earned. I mean, that should give your team an opportunity to win the ball game without a doubt. Offense, 2 for 7 runners in scoring position. Speaking of a game of missed chances, you cash in perhaps on one more of those opportunities. This outcome could have been a bit different too as well. But Nick Kurtz, is good to see he's heating up. Back-to-back games with home runs now. His home run total is up to 7. You're starting to see the average creep up. And for all those early April concerns, what I was saying then and what I'm saying now, it is still early. Remember what Nick Kurtz did in 117 games. He's getting all these early games early, so perhaps that peak is going to be even better than what we saw last year. So be patient. You can see that he looks like his old self again. He's hitting the ball all over the ballpark to all parts of the field. He's drawing walks at a great rate. Relax. He's going to be just fine. That was a great clutch 7th inning, too, passing the baton. Langoliers comes through. That really felt like a defining inning where it's like, man, you come from behind and then you knock it down with your bullpen and win a series and almost steal it from the jaws of defeat in a way, but instead St. Louis does it to you in the end. Perkins, he's been a great addition to the bullpen, but I don't think he's someone that should be slated for the closer role. To me, I feel like his role is better suited because he does have that starting experience that he can work more as a bridge from the starter to the closer as compared to being that closer that's working multiple innings. I think where you saw things go a bit awry last year or in this last outing is as the pitch count was starting to creep up a bit for him in this appearance, you kind of saw his stuff start to move a little bit out of his control. And you started seeing him miss a bit up. And I'm not saying the number of pitches in this one specific outing was the one that fatigued him. But thinking about someone like him that does have starting experience, that had been on a schedule where he's pitching every fifth day. And I know that I'm sure these conversations were had that, hey, we're going to use you more in a relief type role, so you got to build yourself up in that capacity. But it's easier said than done, but I just think now he's working back-to-back-to-back days. I know it's not every day, but it's more frequently than when you're a starting pitcher. That's going to take some time for your body to adjust to. So I wonder if he's running into some fatigue, perhaps, and I think that's where we saw that command go a little bit awry at the end of his appearance. So I would love to see him more slated. If a starter goes 5 innings, let him eat up 6, 7, maybe work into the 8th, and then go from there. But I think just having him pigeonholed to work the 8th and 9th, or just 9th, whatever the case may be, and bringing him in multiple nights in a short period of time, I don't think is going to be a winning formula, at least for where Jack Perkins is right now. But really heartbreaking, strike away from winning the series. Wasn't meant to be, but perhaps the A's will be on the other side of that in a future series, hopefully sooner rather than later. So in the process, they dropped to 22-21, but they are still atop the American League West, as now they welcome in the San Francisco Giants later this evening. But before we get to that preview, we are going to hand out our 3-star performers from this series. So for our 3rd star, we're going to give it to Game 2 winning starting pitcher JT Ginn. He went 6 innings, allowed 9 hits, 1 run. None of them were earned. Allowed the 1 walk and the 3 Ks. Like I had mentioned, I think it was a very important start that he took the mound on his day, put the team on his back, and worked with the lead, especially once Kurtz delivered with that grand slam. He wasn't going to let St. Louis take that one from them, and did everything in a winning pitching performance. Our 2nd star performer is catcher Shea Langoliers. He went 5 for 13 in the series. He had a home run, 5 RBIs, and drew a walk along with 3 runs scored. And then for our 1st star, I think it's quite obvious, the Big Amish, Nick Kurtz. He goes 5 for 10 in the series, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, and 2 walks, also 3 runs scored. He hit the big grand slam in Game 2 and also homered in the rubber match. And that is a wrap on our A's Day 3-star performers from the Cardinals series. This episode is brought to you by the Holiday Inn Sacramento Downtown Arena. Stay in the heart of downtown at Holiday Inn Sacramento Downtown Arena, ideally located near Old Sacramento Waterfront, Golden One Center, and Downtown Commons Doco. Our full-service Sacramento hotel is just 15 minutes from Sacramento International Airport and within walking distance of the California State Capitol and Safe Credit Union Convention Center. Host meetings, conferences, and social events in our flexible boardrooms and ballrooms, supported by experienced on-site sales and events teams. Enjoy modern amenities, including a rooftop outdoor pool, on-site fitness center and Cypress Grill, restaurants serving breakfast, dinner, and cocktails. Guest rooms and suites feature comfortable workspaces, contemporary amenities, and city views, making them ideal for both short stays and extended visits. Whether you're attending an event, planning a meeting, or exploring Sacramento dining, entertainment, and cultural attractions, or taking in an A's game, our downtown location keeps you close to it all. Downtown access, full-service comfort, easy booking. Stay at our downtown Sacramento hotel. All right, real quick on the transactional side of things, the A's, like we mentioned, landed a trade. The A's acquired left-hander Jose Suarez from the Mariners on Thursday in exchange for cash considerations. Suarez will be joining his 3rd different organization this season. He began the season with Atlanta, going 0-1 with a save and a 6.61 ERA in 8 games before getting designated assignment on May 1st. Claimed off waivers by Seattle on May 3rd, Suarez was designated for assignment on Wednesday after making just 1 appearance for the Mariners. Suarez is expected to be added to the active roster today, which he was, and the corresponding roster move was sending right-handed pitcher Mason Barnett to AAA Las Vegas. He'll provide a second left-handed option for the A's bullpen, which has carried Hogan Harris as its lone lefty for the majority of the season. For his career, the 28-year-old Suarez holds a 5.47 ERA in 115 games, 63 starts across 8 Major League seasons. The A's certainly saw plenty of him during 6 seasons with the Angels from 2019 to 2024, including arguably his best season as a big leaguer in 2021 when he performed a swingman role and posted a 3.75 ERA in 23 games, 14 starts for the Angels. To clear space on the 40-man roster, outfielder Junior Perez was designated for assignment. Perez, rated as the A's number 20 prospect by MLB Pipeline, began the season at AAA Las Vegas and is batting .210 with 5 home runs and 19 RBIs and a 657 OPS in 36 games. So, it's a good move for the present to have another lefty option. But in the grand picture, in the grand scheme of things, this roster move is the culmination of a cycle of a cycle of confusion. That's the word I'm looking for. So let's take it back. Let's take it back to December Rule 5 draft. They leave Daniel Susac unprotected, but they protect Junior Perez. Junior Perez gets added to the 40-man roster. Daniel Susac gets selected by the San Francisco Giants. Daniel Susac is now one of 2 catchers, along with Jesus Rodriguez, for the Giants tandem, who is in town tonight and through the weekend, by the way. And you stick with Junior Perez through the season at AAA. Now we get to May 15th. Well, this happened on May 14th, excuse me. And you make a trade for Jose Suarez to add a left-handed depth piece to your bullpen. I think that was something that needed to be addressed, but I don't think it needed to be desperate at all costs. What does it cost? Well, you have to designate Junior Perez for assignment. So he's no longer here. So Daniel Susac is no longer here, and Junior Perez is out on waivers. So you basically traded Daniel Susac away and Junior Perez for Jose Suarez, a career 5.47 ERA. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I don't think Suarez is going to move the needle enough for me. I think he's someone at this stage, he is someone that is walking guys at too high of a clip. I think right now he's right around 16%, 15.6 walk percentage. Way too high for a guy that's ineffective as he's been at this stage in his career. Decent K percentage of 26.7. I guess this is all in the limited sample size. But he's an odd combination. He avoids barrel. He gives up a 2% barrel percentage, which is in the 95th percentile. But he also gives up a lot of hard contact, which is at 43.1%. So he's a tough puzzle to figure out. I think it's good to have another left-handed option, but I don't think at the cost of Junior Perez, especially where you protected him to keep him in the organization. And then you left Daniel Susac, who could have been another catching option down the road, could have been your number 2. And thankfully, we'll see how it works out, but Jonah Heim isn't a bad number 2 option to have, don't get me wrong. But you also could have had homegrown Susac, who has a high ceiling. And you left him unprotected because you felt confident about the services of Austin Wynns. Well, he started the season 3 for 35, and then he gets designated for assignment, and I think he got picked up by the Angels today. Do you see what's going on? There's just the cycle of confusion. I don't understand the process here. And I've been on record for saying I've been singing the praises of all the good moves that I feel like the baseball operations team has made over the last few months, putting this young core together and continuing to supplement it. But this one is leaving me scratching my head. I'm not sure what they're doing at the catching position behind Shea Langoliers. Because look at the season that Shea Langoliers has had. He's 340, 12 home runs at the time of recording. And he's still got some prime years to go. What happens in a few years when free agency comes calling and other teams outbid the A's? Well, you could have had Daniel Susac as your number 2 playing every so often on Shea Langoliers' days. And then you could have had your catcher potentially right there waiting on the wings. Now you just better hope that you're able to sign an extension to Langoliers before he hits the open market. That's your best bet. And I know that's not a this year problem. That's a much further down the road problem. But I think all of these things have a domino type effect. And this is the one area I am a little bit confused. What are they doing behind Langoliers for the catching development position for the number 2? Because right now it's Schoenheim, and I hope that works out. But with his injury history and where his career has been trending, don't know if he's here for the long term. I guess time will tell there. But just wanted to bring that across our desk that Jose Suarez, welcome to the green and gold. I hope you prove us wrong. I hope you're more effective than your recent showing has been, because it would be nice to have another effective lefty out of the pen, but I'm not sure how much truly at this stage that he is going to move the needle. Just hopefully it doesn't go too far south, and hopefully it just ends up somewhere right in the median. All right, now, first National League opponent in West Sacramento has come and gone. Cardinals took 2 out of 3. Now we switch our focus to rivalry weekend, the Battle of the Bay, as the A's welcome in the Giants for a 3-game set. The Giants come in with a record of 18-26 and are led by first-year manager Tony Vitello. In their last series down in LA, taking on the Dodgers, they split a 4-game set, each team taking 2 apiece. The Giants won the first 2 before the Dodgers came storming back to take the final 2 to earn the 4-game split. Offensively, this is how the Giants rank coming into tonight's action. They're batting .243 as a team, which is 12th in baseball. They've hit 30 home runs, which is 29th. They've scored 145 runs, which is the least amount, along with their 89 walks drawn. It's also the least amount in baseball by a wide margin. And their OPS of 656 is 29th. And they've struck out 341 times, which is the ninth least in baseball. On the mound, they've pitched it to a 3.97 ERA, which is 14th. They've walked 167 batters, which is 23rd. They've struck out 340 batters, which is 20th. And they've pitched to a 1.33 whip, which is 18th. And defensively, they fielded it at a .986 defensive fielding percentage, which is 19th. And they're tied for 20th with 23 committed errors. Let's take a look at the projected starting lineup for the San Francisco Giants. Leading off in right field, Jung-Hoo Lee. Batting second, at second base, Luis Arias. Batting third, the first baseman, Casey Schmidt. Batting fourth, the designated hitter, Rafael Devers. Batting fifth, the left fielder, Helio Ramos. Batting sixth, the shortstop, Willy Adames. Batting seventh, the third baseman, old friend Matt Chapman. Batting eighth, the center fielder, Harrison Bader. And batting ninth, you'll see a combination of Jesus Rodriguez and Daniel Susac at the catching position. Now let's take a look at those starting pitching matchups and game times for first pitch. So first pitch for tonight is 6:40 p.m. Pacific time. Tyler Mahle will be getting the ball for the Giants, going up against Aaron Savali. Tomorrow, Saturday, also a 6:40 start time. Trevor McDonald will be getting the ball for the Giants, going up against Luis Severino. So get prepared to celebrate a Saturday Sevy Day. And then Sunday, the rubber match, a day game in West Sacramento, as Adrian Hauser will be getting the ball for the Giants, going up against lefty Jeffrey Springs. Now, let's take a look at the Giants starting pitchers and who the A's will be going up against in this series. So game one starter tonight, right-handed pitcher Tyler Mahle. On the year thus far, he's made 8 starts, pitching to a 1-4 record with a 5.18 ERA. In 41 2/3 innings pitched, he's walked 20 batters, struck out 42, and pitched to a 1.49 whip. In his last start, he got the no decision against the Pirates. He went 5 2/3 innings, 5 hits allowed, 4 runs, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. On the year thus far, his fastball has averaged 92.4 miles per hour, and he works with a 5-pitch repertoire. He works with a fastball, splitter, cutter, slider, sinker. To get to know him a little bit more, Mahle, he's post-2023 Tommy John surgery. Mahle's fastball velocity has settled now into the low 90s as compared to him sitting in the mid-90s or higher, averaging now around 92 miles an hour, which is a slight dip from his earlier career peak, though he maintains a high spin, high ride approach, especially up in the zone. His primary weapons are his four-seamer and a mid-80s splitter, the latter showing solid movement. He also utilizes a slider-cutter combination, though consistency with these secondary pitches has been an issue. Through the early parts of the season, Mahle has experienced issues with the home run ball, 11 allowed in his first 41 2/3 innings, leading to a high 5.18 ERA. However, his underlying metrics remain decent with a 9.33 K per 9 rate, indicating he is still missing bats at an above-average rate. He has struggled with walks, averaging nearly 5 per 9 innings early in 2026, which has inflated his whip. He works to keep the ball on the ground when he can at a 47.5 ground ball percentage, but he has been giving up lots of barrel, 10.2 barrel percentage, so expect the A's to be ready to hit in this one, and at Sutter Health Park, maybe be expecting some homers. Tomorrow's starter, Game 2, Trevor McDonald, is someone that I feel will be a different story. On the year thus far, he had been recently called up, so he'll be making his third start of the year. He's only made 2 starts, but he's been pretty brilliant in both. He's 1-0 with a 2.92 ERA in 12 1/3 innings pitched, 2 walks, 12 Ks, and a 105 whip. In his last start, they won at the Dodgers. He went 5 1/3 innings, allowed 9 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks. His fastball has averaged 94.5 miles an hour in those 2 starts, and he works with a 4-pitch mix, a sinker, slider, changeup, and cutter. McDonald started his 2026 season with a dominant 7-inning 1-run performance against the San Diego Padres on May 4th of 2026. Due to an injury to Logan Webb, McDonald was recalled to fill a spot in the starting rotation earlier in the month. He joined Fernando Valenzuela as one of the few pitchers since 1913 to record 20-plus more strikeouts than walks with 2 or fewer earned runs in their first 3 career MLB starts. McDonald utilizes that 4-pitch mix, primarily relying on a 2-seam and a 4-seam fastball that average around 94 miles an hour and touch 98. His low 80s high-spin curveball is considered his best secondary pitch, showing deep break and high swing and miss rates. He effectively uses a 2-seam fastball sinker, leading to a high ground ball rate right now at 68.6%. While developed as a starter, his ability to throw strikes with multiple pitches makes him a candidate for high leverage bullpen work as well, if that were a need to create itself later down the road. He has shown potential for above average control, which has been crucial to his success at the MLB level, often working ahead in counts. He brings high confidence and ability to induce ground balls and a strong command of his arsenal. He does need to maintain consistency over a larger sample size. His velocity was noted to fade slightly in the later innings of his last start against the Dodgers. He has generated a 31.1 chase percentage, a 4 walk percent, so he's going to come right after you and try to keep you off balance all in and around the zone. So the A's should just need to be ready to hit with more of a limited repertoire, and perhaps if you drive up his pitch count early, that you can get him fatigued and feast on him towards the back end of his outing. And then the Game 3 starter who will be getting the Sunday start, Adrian Hauser, the right-handed pitcher. On the year thus far, he's made 8 starts, pitching to a 1-4 record with a 5.79 ERA. In 42 innings, he's walked 14, striking out 23, and pitching to a 1.48 whip. In his last start, he got the win at the Dodgers. He went 5 2/3 innings, allowed 3 hits, 2 runs, 3 walks, 4 Ks. His fastball has averaged an even 95 miles an hour on the season thus far, and he works with a 5-pitch mix, a sinker, changeup, slider, fastball, and curveball. Hauser has maintained an increased velocity from his 2025 surge, with a sinker averaging roughly 95. He has combined this with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball, an 88-mile-an-hour slider, an 86-mile-an-hour changeup, and an 82-mile-an-hour curve. Following a strong stint with the White Sox last year, Hauser refined his mechanics and early on this year has shown improved control and ability to generate ground balls. He demonstrated the ability to throw 6 or more solid innings, as evidenced back on his May 6th start, where he went 6 innings, allowing only 1 run. His ground ball percentage of 48 thus far ranks in the 71st percentile of all qualified pitchers in baseball, and he has worked with a 7.4 walk percentage. So, that's a wrap on our Giants starting pitching scouting report. I do think that these should be friendly matchups for these A's hitters to be ready to hit. They're going to be filling up the zone with strikes. The A's just got to be ready to hit and do damage in their hitter-friendly environment. Head-to-head last year, the Giants and A's, the Giants owned this matchup. They went 5-1. Back from May 16th to 18th of last year, the Giants swept their home series in San Francisco. Before July 4th to 6th, the Giants went into Sutter Health Park up in West Sacramento and took 2 out of 3 from the A's. So the A's will be looking to do much better against their Bay Area rivals. Let's take a look at some A's hitters versus the Giants starting pitchers that are scheduled to throw. There's limited history here. They've never faced Trevor McDonald. But against Tyler Mahle, Tyler Soderstrom's 2 for 3. Brent Rooker's 1 for 5 with a double. And then against Adrian Hauser, Jeff McNeil is 2 for 9 lifetime with 2 doubles. Shane Langoliers 1 for 2 with a double. And Jonah Heim 1 for 3. So we are going to make our official selection. We're looking to keep our home run streak going. The A's Day home run prediction, we are going to pick Nick Kurtz. We think he is in the midst of a heater. We think he's going to go off and hit a bunch in a row and feel that with the opportunity to face 3 right-handed starters, I would not be surprised if Kurtz hits at least 1, if not 2 this weekend. But we're predicting that Nick Kurtz will hit at least 1 home run in this series. And as for the series prediction, we are going to take the A's in this one to take 2 out of 3. We think they're going to win tonight 7-1 before losing a tight one tomorrow 5-4 before bouncing back and winning the daytime rubber match 7-3 to take the 3-game set. Look, I know the Giants have been playing better baseball. They played the Dodgers rather tough. The Dodgers are reeling themselves right now. And I just think flat out when I look at this matchup and the starting pitching matchups that line up here, the A's are just a flat out better team. They need to start defending their home ballpark. They need to start feasting on the teams that they are better than. And this is a team coming into their park, especially with the way the A's played in this last series against the St. Louis team that I feel is right on par with this A's team. I think those two teams mirror each other rather well. And you saw the way that that series turned out and how it went down to the very last strike, to the very last out. Like, that's how evenly matched those teams were. I think those are 2 quality teams. Now, the A's don't play down to the San Francisco team. Take care of business at home. I would not be surprised if they went out there and swept the series. They need to come in with that focus, and they need the energy and the momentum of the series starts tonight. So you got to come out with that passion. I know a lot of guys in that clubhouse are probably fired up and still ticked off from how the series ended yesterday against the Cardinals. They'll want to wipe that away clean. I wouldn't be surprised if they come out hot against a guy in Mahle that has been susceptible to the home run ball this year. He's already given up 11. He hasn't even thrown a pitch in Sutter Health Park this year thus far. So that's happened in other parks everywhere. Don't be surprised if you see the A's lean in on the home run power a little bit, especially in Friday night's game. That's it. That's all I have for you today. Appreciate you stopping by. Hope you are all set for the exciting baseball action that is right around the corner. Again, 6:40 p.m. tonight. First pitch, Tyler Mahle getting the ball for the Giants, going up against A's right-hander Aaron Civale. And Civale we trust, expecting a good start from him. I'm expecting to see a lot of offensive production out of this A's lineup, especially, again, against a guy like Mahle that is susceptible to the home run ball. Go out there, do some damage, get to this bullpen early, and set the tone for the weekend. We'll be back behind the mic for Monday's show as we will recap what goes down in this Giants series before moving on to our series preview, as the A's will be traveling down to Southern California to take on the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. We'll be sure to preview that series and discuss any other A's news that happens between now and Monday's show. That's all I have for you today. Once again, I'm your host, Joe Grado. Thank you for stopping by to hearing my thoughts on A's baseball. Appreciate all of your support. Hope you all have a great weekend and enjoy some A's baseball. I hope it's nothing but A's victories, and we really get some momentum going on the 2026 campaign. Take care, everyone, and until next time, Holy Toledo, let's go A's.